calf injury show up?
Yeah, during practice. Felt something. We'll get an MRI and see what it is.
Are you planning on bringing some kickers into work?
I think it's premature to say.
Joel could potentially play because you trust he has so much experience.
Correct. Yes.
You said yesterday he felt better from Wednesday to Thursday. Do you know if he's still...
He's progressing, but with this type of injury, you need to make sure, find out where he is every single day.
Any more details on Andre? How did it happen?
Nothing notable. Mary Kay felt something. We're doing the appropriate thing, getting a look at it with some imaging, and we'll go from there.
You know, there's something about the calm before the storm. Kevin Stefanski walks into this press conference cool, collected, talking about a beautiful day for football. But behind that calm voice, behind those coach-speak phrases, there's tension, there's pressure, and there's the reality that this Cleveland Browns team, sitting in a pivotal spot early in the season, is already battered by questions that could shake their foundation. Stefanski says he respects the opponent. He knows they're 2-0. He knows they're talented. That's coach talk. But the moment the microphones click on, the questions start coming fast. Injuries. Who's hurt? Who's in? Who's out? The dreaded MRI. The dreaded protocol. This is football at its most unforgiving, and it's already testing Cleveland's depth chart before we even get deep into September. And here's the thing, Stefanski's words sound steady. But for fans, it sounds like a warning. A calf injury at practice. Imaging tests on Andre. Special teams hit with another setback. And let's not forget, DeAndre stuck in protocol. This is the reality. Next man up isn't just a phrase anymore. It's survival. But here's my question to you. Are you buying Stefanski's calm? Do you think this Browns roster is really built to weather these early storms? Or are we just watching cracks form before our eyes? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this is the kind of moment that defines a season. And Stefanski? He gives us that classic coach's answer. That's football. He says it almost like a shrug. Injuries happen, guys go down, somebody else steps up. But here's the controversy. How long can you keep saying, that's football, before it becomes, that's the excuse? This is not just about injuries. This is about identity. What kind of Browns team are we watching take shape in 2025? Because let's be real. Stefanski had to answer questions about Cornelius Lucas, a veteran stepping in as that next man up. Sure, Lucas is experienced. He's seen it all. But if you're a Browns fan, are you really comfortable with that being the answer? This isn't about plugging a gap in September. This is about playing against elite competition week after week, with playoff hopes hanging in the balance. Then Stefanski flips the conversation toward the opponent. He doesn't name them outright in every sentence, but we know who he's talking about, the Packers. Their offense, their tight end room, their ability to spread the ball around. He praises their weapons, their scheme, their balance. And I gotta be honest, it almost felt like he was talking more about what the Packers are capable of than what his own team could counter with. When your head coach is talking more about the opponent's strengths than your own team's weapons, should fans be concerned? Think about it. Stefanski had to field questions about how the Heat would play a factor in the upcoming game. He brushes it off, says both teams have to deal with it. But after what happened last week, players cramping up, conditioning issues, you can't just wave this away. This is where preparation meets reality. And then comes one of the more fascinating parts of the presser, his comments on the running back rotation. Stefanski dives into history, pulling out names like Deuce Staley, Brian Westbrook, and Correll Buckhalter. He talks about the three-headed monster he once admired as a fan. And he compares that to what the Browns are trying to do now. Multiple backs, different skill sets, playing the hot hand. But here's the controversy. Does a hot hand really work in today's NFL? Or does it just create chaos and inconsistency? Ask yourself this. Would you rather have a steady bell cow back that you can lean on, or a rotation that leaves you wondering who's getting the ball on 3rd and 2 with the game on the line? This is where the Browns are living right now, between tradition and innovation, between stability and uncertainty. And Stefanski, for all his calmness, gave us a window into just how delicate this balancing act really is. Now, let's talk about the big names. Stefanski was asked about comparing Myles Garrett to Micah Parsons. And let me tell you, this is where coaches get uncomfortable. You don't want to start ranking elite pass rushers in public. But the answer was telling. He didn't want to compare. He wanted to focus on our guy, as he put it. Myles Garrett, playing at a high level, disrupting the run and the pass. That's safe, that's smart. But fans? They don't care about safe answers. They care about dominance. They care about whether Myles Garrett is about to wreck games the way Parsons does for Dallas. And deep down, you know they're wondering if the Browns' defense can hold up in big moments. Because here's the truth, Myles Garrett can't do it alone. And if Stefanski's words sound like confidence, maybe it's because he knows the rest of this roster still has to prove it on the field.
Yeah, I would kind of, when you look at their offense, Mary Kay, I think that they have great players across the board. That they do a really good job of spreading the ball around. They have talented players at all positions that touch it. So just kind of to the previous point, it's a very sound system. So it's not, I don't think their offense, like our offense, is about one person.
The CBS broadcast for the last game said that in regards to your rookie quarterback development, you have an airtight plan down to the minute. I was curious, it's one thing to have one rookie quarterback in the room, but to have two, and even Bailey is like a semi-young quarterback. Are you drawing from any influence when it comes to kind of creating that plan for development?
Oh, drawing from what was that?
Do you have any influences from your past when it comes to, creating the plan to develop these guys even when they're not playing?
Not necessarily. I think the big thing for us, it goes back to that intentionality of what we do, and that's Bill Musgrave, that's Tommy Reese, that's our player development team. Everybody understanding that we're bringing our guys along, and it may on one day mean meetings, may on one day mean a physical individual drill, if you will, at practice.
And then we hit the part of this press conference that may end up being the most controversial of all, the rookie quarterback plan. Stefanski was asked about it, and CBS apparently reported that the Browns have an airtight plan down to the minute for developing their young quarterbacks. Not just one rookie, two rookies. And even Bailey Zapp, a semi-young quarterback, is part of that conversation. This is where Stefanski leaned on intentionality. Every meeting, every drill, every practice rep, planned out with precision. He credited Bill Musgrave, Tommy Reese, and the development staff. He made it sound airtight, foolproof. But let's be real. Since when has quarterback development in Cleveland ever been airtight? Since when has this franchise had a perfect plan that actually worked? Fans have been burned before. Quarterback after quarterback has come through this city, and we've heard words like intentionality before. So here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. Do you believe this Browns coaching staff actually has the plan that will finally get it right? Or are we just hearing another version of the same promise we've heard for decades? And you know what's interesting? Stefanski didn't lean on Shedeur Sanders' name here, but let's not ignore the bigger NFL picture. Around the league, rookies like Shedeur are proving they can make an impact. They're showing swagger, confidence, maturity. Meanwhile, Cleveland is still talking about drills, meetings, and development schedules. It makes you wonder, are the Browns playing catch-up while other teams are already thriving with their young quarterbacks? Because when you talk about quarterbacks in this league, it's not about the plan, it's about the results. And Browns fans are tired of waiting. So after quarterback talk, the press conference shifted gears again. Stefanski got questions about Luke Musgrave. Now, this one's interesting, not just because Musgrave is a young tight end on the rise, but because of his family connection. Stefanski even joked about Musgrave's uncle, Coach Muse, putting on a jersey and practicing against him. It was lighthearted, but it carried weight. Because let's be honest, these are the moments fans cling to. Not the cliche about next man up. Not the endless repetition about protocols. It's those family ties, those little windows into the culture of the locker room, that make you wonder if the Browns have more chemistry than people give them credit for. But here's where I lean controversial. Does locker room chemistry matter if it doesn't translate to wins? We've seen teams full of brotherhood and bonding fall flat when Sunday rolls around. And we've seen cold, businesslike franchises dominate the league. So when Stefanski talks about Musgrave and family, it's a nice story, but it doesn't change the scoreboard. Then Stefanski got a little more personal, talking about Deuce Staley. And this one felt different. You could tell there was admiration. He said he grew up a fan, and now he gets to coach alongside him. That's full circle football right there. And you can feel the respect in Stefanski's words. But here's the part that stands out. Stefanski said Deuce brings juice to everything he does. The field, the meetings, the locker room. And if you know Deuce Staley, that's the truth. He's one of those old school, no-nonsense guys who also knows how to light a fire under his players. If Deuce Staley is the emotional spark, is Stefanski just the calm mechanic? And is that balance a strength or a problem? Because fans love energy. They love fire. They love passion. And when your head coach always looks calm, always sounds monotone, some start to wonder, does this team really feel urgency from the top down? Then came one of the biggest football questions of the presser, how the Browns shut down Derrick Henry last week, and whether that success gives them confidence against Josh Jacobs. Stefanski's answer? Every challenge is unique. Josh Jacobs, he said, is really, really, really talented. And that's true. Jacobs has patience, vision, power, speed, quickness. He checks every box. But let's pause here. Stefanski said every challenge is unique. But shouldn't success against Derrick Henry give this team swagger? Shouldn't it give the defense proof that they can handle the league's best? Instead, we hear more caution, more coach speak, more hedging. And that's where controversy creeps in. Because sometimes caution isn't leadership, it's fear. And if you want to win in the NFL, you can't play scared. Now, one of the lighter moments, Stefanski was asked about the Guardians' run in baseball. He admitted he checks the standings in the morning, but his focus is all football. That's fine. It was a quick laugh line. But it also shows how Cleveland fans live. They're desperate for a winner in any sport. Guardians. Browns. They just want somebody to carry the city. And let's be honest, when Stefanski said he's watching the standings, it almost felt symbolic. Like Browns fans are watching the standings too, wondering if this team is really playoff bound or headed toward another season of disappointment. So let me throw this back at you. Do you believe this Browns team can be the one to finally deliver, or are fans just waiting for the other shoe to drop? Drop your answer below, because that's the heart of the Cleveland sports experience. Finally, the presser wrapped with Stefanski talking about offensive precision. Timing, accuracy, protection, depth and routes. He hammered the word precision. And you know what? That's the most revealing thing he said all day. Because if you've watched the Browns offense, you know precision has been lacking. Missed throws, wrong depths, breakdowns in protection. It hasn't always looked clean. So for Stefanski to emphasize precision, it's both a goal and an admission. A goal that the offense can become sharp, efficient, dangerous. And an admission that right now, it isn't quite there. Because talk is cheap, precision isn't something you say, it's something you show. And until the Browns show it, fans won't believe it. So let's recap. In this press conference, Kevin Stefanski stood steady under the lights. He talked injuries, protocols, depth charts. He praised the opponent. He reminisced about running backs of old. He dodged comparisons of Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons. He talked intentionality in quarterback development, even though Cleveland fans have heard promises before. He talked about Deuce Staley's juice, Josh Jacobs' talent, Luke Musgrave's family ties, and the need for precision. It was calm. It was measured. It was classic Stefanski. But here's the truth. It left us with more questions than answers. Are the Browns strong enough to survive the injury bug? Are the rookies being developed with real vision, or just with words? Is Stefanski's calm demeanor a source of stability, or a mask covering cracks in the foundation? And most importantly, can this team deliver wins when it matters? Because at the end of the day, Cleveland doesn't need calm words. They need results. They need fire. They need victories. And when we look across the league, rookies like Shedeur Sanders are showing what leadership looks like. They're proving that swagger and poise can coexist. Meanwhile, Cleveland's still caught between plans and protocols. That's the controversy. That's the story. So here's the final question I'll leave you with. Do you trust Kevin Stefanski's calm voice in September, or do you believe the cracks we're seeing now are signs of a bigger storm coming? And that's where we'll leave it today. Kevin Stefanski's press conference might have sounded calm, but the questions it raised are anything but. Injuries, quarterback development, and precision, 3 words that could define the Browns season. If you enjoyed this breakdown and you want more dramatic, in-depth coverage of the NFL's biggest controversies, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from us here at Gridiron Insights. Because this season is only just beginning, and the drama? It's only going to get bigger.